Hello, I'm Steve.
I'm Patience.
Welcome to Johansen Family Vlog. We thought we'd take a little time to sit down and talk to you guys today and just go over a few things. So, this is going to be the start of a new season for us. We are going to be spending the winter in the cabin.
As much as we're able, anyways.
For as long as we can.
As long as all the systems function properly, and as long as Steve is still working remotely, and as long as we stay warm. I guess that's one of the systems.
It's one of the systems.
But we've done a lot of improvements on the cook stove, which we can make a video about that soon to kind of show some different things that we've learned about the cook stove after using it for a little while. And so at first it was kind of cold.
Oh, we didn't have, well.
But now I think we've kind of got a handle on the cook stove and getting used to using it. And so we stay pretty warm now, so that's good.
It's pretty nice and cozy. We'll be going, I mean, obviously we're in the cabin now. We'll be going back and showing, a few things as we go. We just wanted to sit down and talk a little bit, go over a few things. I teach, and they are virtually teaching, or virtually, I can teach virtually. There's no in-person teaching. Students don't come to school right now. And so it's afforded us the opportunity to stay on the property a lot longer than we had planned for. So we have more or less been here since the end of March, right? Mm-hmm. And so it's now November.
Yep.
And so we've been here for a while. It's central Wisconsin, kind of northern central Wisconsin, but it's central Wisconsin, and it gets cold here, and it gets snowy, and it gets windy. And we didn't want to do that in our camper.
Yeah, it's a little bit hard to keep it heated well. The floor, even while we were in there in October, was cold. It's just not efficient to heat the camper. So,
well, the biggest concern for me too was keeping water lines from freezing. It just really hard to do when it gets this cold out. We would have done a lot of things like put a skirt around the camper, which I didn't really want to do to the camper, and maybe like insulating water lines and putting heat wraps around them, and just a whole bunch of stuff that it isn't very easy to do off grid either. So,
and water is very important to me. If you haven't noticed from past videos, so that the thought of not having water while staying in the camper just didn't sound enjoyable at all. So it was an easy choice to move out of the camper.
Yeah, I think I missed it for a day or two. Missed the camper itself, because the camper has been it's been our home essentially for the last 6 or 7 months, and it was where we went to relax and where we went to eat and get clean. And it's still there. It's kind of almost like a lifeboat for us now. If something really major went wrong with the cabin, we would just run up there and kick the heater on and probably finish out the night and then figure out what we're going to do the next day. But it's definitely a lot more room here in the cabin.
Yeah, the boys have enjoyed having a lot more space to play and jump around and be rambunctious and boys.
The systems here aren't automated. Like, so in a camper, a camper comes with a lot of systems that are fairly automated. Especially we had the solar panels on there, and they would charge them. They would charge the batteries. And if the batteries got too low, we'd start the generator and plug in the camper, and it automatically charge the batteries because it has, a charger converter inside of it. And the heater, once you set the thermostat, it runs, and the fridge, once you set the thermostat on that, it runs. And all the systems on the camper are pretty much automated. And then in the cabin, we're running into a lot of it's not automated. And it's just I think we kind of missed that luxury just a little bit. But we're also dealing with lots of incomplete systems right now that we're going to slowly work on. we've been spending a lot of time on the outside of the cabin, getting it, weatherproofed, and we'll show some videos about that coming up. And now the weather is kind of turning a little bit colder, and so we'll be spending more time on the inside, and we'll be showing videos about that eventually too, about the systems we have, and how we're continuing to be off grid. And the wood stove's a big part of that. If we didn't have wood heat, and weren't in a building that was small enough to be heated by a cook stove, we would probably need grid power just to stay here, because it's just the amount of energy you need to heat anywhere to stay comfortable is just ginormous.
Yeah, and I haven't burnt anything on the cook stove yet, so
Come
I
close. You come close.
Yes, but everything's been edible, so I'm pretty impressed that I have managed. I have not baked yet, and I'm a little bit hesitant to try that.
We've baked pizzas, like frozen pizzas. So, that's about it.
Yeah, but everybody's bugging me for cookies, and
Yeah,
I'm not sure how that's going to turn
gonna
out
be
yet.
rough.
So we'll see. We'll see.
So, what has been? I'm asking you now. What has been the hardest thing about moving into the cabin?
Um, I don't know. When we first moved in, we were very much under construction, so we were living in dust, and I mean boards were stacked up right here where we were sitting, and so that was a little rough for a few days while we
Well, let me explain. We've been watching the weather very closely, and just I mean we're kind of new to this part of Wisconsin. It's quite a bit farther north than where we've spent many years, where I've lived basically almost my entire life, and it's even a little bit farther north than where Patience is from. And so just speaking with the neighbors, talking about years where it snows on Halloween and it never gets warm enough for that to melt and go away until next spring, we started to get a little bit concerned. And so we were watching the weather, and we saw, basically a week and a half to 2 weeks ahead, it was, solid, just staying below freezing. And so once we had, water, shelter, and heat, we saw that it was going to stay below freezing, we realized that we should probably shut down the camper. We should winterize it, and not use those systems anymore, and risk, breaking lines with them freezing and stuff like that. And so we probably moved into the cabin a little bit sooner than we would have liked.
Mm-hmm.
And then it turned out that a couple weeks later, warm weather came again, and so we could have probably roughed it out in the camper for a little while and been okay. Kind of like we did around Easter this year, where we basically stayed in the camper for a week and didn't have running water because the lines were frozen and stuff like that. But so we kind of moved in without being completely ready to do that. So there was some cold nights, and it's a very small firebox, so once the wood burns out, it does slowly cool off in here. So for you, just moving into a construction zone was really hard.
Yeah, I think just moving in kind of, kind of jumping the gun a little bit. But I mean, we had no way of knowing. So it really wasn't. I think about it now as being hard because I realize that we could have waited, but at the time we didn't know that we could wait. So it didn't really seem hard. It just seemed like that's just what we have to do to be in here. And
I think it almost helped us get ahead of the game a little bit, because we were already here then, and when the warmer weather came back, we used it to our advantage to finish up stuff on the outside of the cabin. And I think we would have been really upset with ourselves if we had kept using the camper and some of those systems had broken because of the cold weather that had come for a couple weeks.
Yeah. So what's been the most difficult for you then?
Just monitoring all the systems, and worrying about, is that system gonna fail us and then we have to leave, or is this system gonna fail us, or we've been having a bit of issues with energy, with batteries and stuff, and I've had to rewire some batteries because I didn't wire them correctly in the first place, and maybe we'll get a video about that. It was really frustrating when a system would go down and not perform the way that I had hoped it would. And we've had quite a bit of experience now with these off-grid systems, because we were using very similar systems in the camper, and just the difference of getting them set up down here, or them being newly set up. It it's just very frustrating when they fail.
It's all been a learning curve. All the different systems, or all the new systems
Mm-hmm.
to us. The cook stove. Neither of us have ever used one, though. I mean, at a very young age had experience or had been around them
You had, yeah.
at my grandparents' home. So I've seen them
Yeah,
and warmed up next to them, but never used one.
I think we're doing pretty good with the wood stove. Once in a while, we both kind of neglect to keep it going, and then it gets a little bit. Almost goes out, and then it's hard to get going again.
Yeah.
But not too
But
bad.
it's a learning curve. I
Yeah.
mean, we're still just yeah getting used to everything. So
Yeah. Um, what's been the most exciting thing about being in the cabin?
the space.
Yeah, it's a lot more space than
Yeah.
we've had for 6 or 7 months living in the camper.
Yeah, being in the camper, during the summer, you didn't notice it. I mean, we're outside all the time, rainy days, here and there, but we were just outside all the time, so we never noticed it. But like when we first were on the property, March, April, we were in a lot, but we were also outside a lot because we were just so excited to be here, and so it wasn't until it started to cool off that the camper became or felt crowded, I guess.
What are you most excited for of the systems we still have yet to put in? Which system are you most excited for?
Shower. So we've been in for a few weeks now, and we still don't have hot water. Uh, Normally, or as a normal function, we heat up water on the stove when we need hot water, but a shower, yeah, that would be nice. So thanks to those who have let us come and shower at your place.
So we've actually planned trips. When some of it work coincides with other things we need to do, but we've after going so many days without a shower, and I mean, we could figure something out here.
Now, don't get us wrong. It's not that we don't shower. I mean, we do clean up. We do our best to stay clean and fresh, but
it's almost like
we don't have an actual running shower. So
it's almost like a relaxation technique to go take a shower, because it just feels so good when you don't get a nice shower.
Yeah. So
we have a shower. We just haven't completely installed it. You've probably seen the shower pan in some of the videos. We haven't put up we've kind of started to build the wall around the shower. We just haven't put up the surround yet and run the water. And even then, I think it's going to be a little while still before we have running hot water. It is our plan to use the stove and put a heat exchanger coil in there, and then run that through a small hot water heater, just so that it doesn't have to run that much on the solar panels. But that's going to be a ways away because of what that has to run through in the house. And we got a lot of work to do on the kitchen. The kitchen is kind of not gone anywhere yet, and the water lines have to run through the kitchen. And
so there's a few systems it'll take time to get them in place, and we do what we can until then. So we just go visit family a lot. No, we get it taken care of, so all good.
Well, anything you want to tell our viewers? We're excited that we're getting more subscribers.
Yeah, we almost well, not almost, but we see 100 in our horizons. I never thought we'd be able to say that.
Ooh, 100.
100. So yeah, maybe soon we'll encroach on that. But yeah, it's been fun getting the comments, and knowing that our family and friends are keeping up with us and watching this crazy adventure that we're on. And yeah,
I guess I keep saying, we never intended on spending this much time here this year. We never intended on turning this building into a livable space. We never intended on using the camper as much as we have. And it's all just, we really feel that, God's directing us and pushing us where he wants us to be. And, and hopefully it slows down a little bit soon. But I got the feeling that I'm gonna have to keep going to get some stuff done in the cabin. So
Yeah. Well, and two, like Steve said, this building wasn't intended to be a cabin, and so I mean, you'll notice it's rough and it's rustic, however you want to look at it, and we know that. I mean, we would have done things differently if we had known that we were going to turn this into a cabin. So we get it. It's a little
it,
rough looking, but
it's rustic, but it's very functional. I
yeah,
mean,
and that's all we need is just something that functions, keeps us warm, and provides shelter. So it gets the job done, as rustic as it is. So
mhm. Well, we thank all of you for watching and for coming along on this journey. We know we started this for family and friends so they could keep track of what we were doing. And we know there's a lot of subscribers now that aren't family and friends, and so we thought we would start off this next season, where this will be season 3 for us, what we're calling season 3. Um, and we thought we'd start off by kind of sitting here and talking to the camera a little bit and letting those that are not friends and family and don't necessarily know us that well get to know us just a little bit better. I know we don't do a whole lot of talking to the video, um, and I know we should probably do it more, but we really want to say that we appreciate your comments. I know it's I guess I just feel it's nice that we're such a small channel, and individuals still feel like it's worthwhile to put comments to us. So we really appreciate that. And we so far we try to answer as many as we can, because there's not that many, but we really appreciate it.
yeah. All right.
All
So
right.
for tonight,
So for tonight, that's
that's that.
that.